Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn how to effectively review and answer MCQ multiple choice questions from past exam papers. This will help you prepare better and improve your exam performance. Without further ado, let's get started. Which cell structure contains cytoplasm? The cytoplasm surrounds all these cell structures. So, the best answer for a structure that is directly within the cytoplasm is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Some cell structures are listed in a particular order: nucleus, ribosome, Golgi body, vesicles. What determines the order in which these cell structures are listed? The order of the cell structures listed correspond to sequence used in synthesis of an antibody. These can be explained as below. Nucleus is where the genetic information DNA for making proteins is stored and transcribed to mRNA. Ribosomes is where mRNA is translated into protein. And Golgi body is where proteins are modified, sorted, and packaged. And finally, vesicles is a transport, the package. The vesicle transport the packaged protein to their final destination. The drawing has been made from a section showing part of an alveolus and a red blood cells in a capillary. The magnifications of the drawing is multiplied by 5,000. What is the minimum distance that oxygen must diffuse from air in an alveolus into the red blood cells? The minimum distance that oxygen must diffuse from air in an alveolus into the red blood cells is 0.1 micrometer. And this distance accounts for the combined thickness of the alveolar and capillary walls. Question number 4 is a common question which exists in several years. The difference between these 3 years is for the October 2019, October 2020, and May 2022 is the functions. For 2019, the functions is more on mRNA passes through the ribosome, synthesis of polypeptide, packaging of hydrolytic enzyme that will remain in the cells. But for October 2020, the functions is more focusing on synthesis of polypeptide, synthesis of lipid, and packaging of hydrolytic enzyme that will remain in the cells. And for May 2020, it's more on mRNA passes through the ribosomes, which is similar to October 2019, except there is a slightly difference in terms of the produces mitotic spindle during cell division. And the packaging of hydrolytic enzyme that will remain in the cells is similar for 2019 and October 2020. And let's look what is the questions. The question will be, which student correctly matches the number functions with the appearance of the cell structures? So we know that the answer is C, which is mRNA passes through to the ribosome. Is actually correlate with a double membrane interspersed with pores, and synthesis of polypeptides is referring to a non-membrane bound spherical structures. And for the packaging of hydrolytic enzyme that will remain in the cells would be membranes bound set arranged as a flattened stack. This is I already explained. It's just to emphasize the strong facts that regards with mRNA passes through to the ribosomes. This happens through a nuclear pores, so the appearance is X, which is a double membrane interspersed with a pores. But for the synthesis of polypeptide, this occurs at the ribosomes. So the appearance is W, which refers to a non-membrane bound spherical structures. And for the packaging of hydrolytic enzyme that will remain in the cells, this is done by a Golgi apparatus, so the appearance is Z, which is a membrane bound set arranged as a flattened stack. Number 5, The antibiotic chloramphenicals inhibit protein synthesis in mitochondria, and in some prokaryotes, chloramphenicals does not inhibit protein synthesis in the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cells. What would be the effect on the cells of a person being treated with chloramphenicol? The answer would be when there is a rate of ATP productions decrease because chloramphenicals inhibit protein synthesis in mitochondria, which are crucial for ATP productions. And during the transcription of nuclear DNA, there will be no effect because chloramphenicol does not affect protein synthesis in the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cells when nuclear DNA transcriptions occur. The answer will be B. And number 6, the diagram shows the monosaccharide xylose. Many xylose monomers can join by glycosidic bond to form a polysaccharide, which is found in the plant cell's wall. Which diagram shows the formation of the glycosidic bond between two xylose monomers? Xylose is classified as a monosaccharide of ambipentose type, meaning that it contains 5 carbon atoms and includes an aldehyde functional group. So the most similar answer will be diagram B. Number 7, which color indicate the lowest concentrations of the reduced sugar present in a solution after testing with diluted solution? The answer will be green. This can be explained. It's actually green indicate the lowest concentration of reducing sugar in a solution after testing with diluted solution. Which molecules are monomers? The correct answer will be 1, ribose, glucose, and deoxyribose. They are monomers, which is having single sugar molecule. But sucrose is a disaccharide because it composed of 2 sugar molecules. Which molecule have properties that are dependent on hydrogen bond? The molecule whose properties depend on hydrogen bonds are cellulose, hemoglobin, and water, 1, 3, and 4. Why cellulose? Because hydrogen bond between cellulose change give it strength and rigidity. Hemoglobin, hydrogen bond which helps maintain its structures and allow it to bind oxygen. And water, which is hydrogen bond contribute to its unique properties like high boiling point and surface tension. Glycogen, although it has some hydrogen bonding, it is not primarily dependent on them for its properties. So the answer will be 1, 3, and 4. Some features of triglycerides are listed. The correct answer will be 2 and 3, which is contain a high proportion of carbon-hydrogen bond, and number 3 is insoluble in water. The high proportion of carbon-hydrogen bond, which provide a lot of energy when broken down. For the insoluble in water, which allow them to be stored without affecting the cell water balance. And number 11, some food contain hydrogenated vegetables oil, and these are unsaturated fats that have been converted to saturated fats. Which property of the fats will have changed? The answer will be their hydrocarbon change will fit together more closely. So this can be explained through when the hydrogenation convert unsaturated fat, which have been in the change due to double bond into saturated fat with a straight change. This will allow the change to fit together more closely, making the fat more solid at the room temperature. Number 12, which statement could be used to describe enzyme molecules and antibody molecules? The answer will be hydrogen bonds stabilize the structures of the protein and are important for it to function actually. And the proprietary structures of the protein molecule plays an important role in the functioning of the protein. This can be explained through both enzymes and antibodies rely on hydrogen bond to stabilize the structures and function efficiently. And the specific 3D shape, territory structures for both enzyme and antibodies is crucial for their proper functioning. Number 13, the Vmax and Km are determined for an enzyme catalyzed reaction. What will be the effect on the Vmax and Km in the presence of competitive inhibitor? The answer will be Vmax stay the same. The maximum reaction rate is unchanged because the inhibitor can be outcompeted by increasing the substrate concentration. And whereas for the Kn, it will increases because the apparent affinity of the enzyme for the substrate decreases, meaning more substrate is needed to reach the maximum reactions rate. And 14, the graph show how the concentration of component 1, 2, 3, and 4 of an enzyme catalyzed reaction change with the time. Which will identify the components of this reaction? The answer will be D. And which statement suggests that a membrane protein is involved in active transport? The answer will be B. It can only function if mitochondria are supplied with sufficient oxygen. This is because active transport requires energy, which is produced in the mitochondria, typically in the presence of oxygen. Cell surface receptor used in cell signaling are usually proteins that extend from one side of the membrane to the other sides of the membrane. What is the role of extracellular parts of the protein? The answer will be binding the signaling molecule. So the extracellular part of the receptor binds to the signaling molecule, initiate the cell signaling process. Number 17, the answer will be G. Why it is G? Which substances can pass directly through cell surface membrane and do not use a carrier protein or a chain protein? Carbon dioxide can pass directly through the cell surface membrane because it is small, non-polar molecule, potassium ion, chloride ion require channel protein, and glucose require a carrier protein. So the answer will be 2 only. The student put a layer of plant epidermal cells on the microscope slide. The student put a drop of potassium nitrate solutions on the layer of cells and observed that first, the cell surface membrane of many of the cells is separated from the cell wall, and second, the cytoplasm and cell tank had shrunk. What explains this observation? So this can be explained when the direction of the net water movement, the cell's true solution. And the water potential of the cell at the start will be -100, and the water potential of solution at the start will be -500. The enzyme telomerase prevent loss of telomeres after many mitotic cell cycles, and which cells transcribe a higher concentration of telomerase? The answer will be D. Is only 3 only. Activated membrane T lymphocyte transcribe a high concentrations of telomerase to maintain their telomeres and ensure long-term immunity. Neutrophils and mature red blood cells do not exhibit high level of telomerase activity. At which stage of mitosis do this event occurs? So the answer will be B. During anaphase, centromeres separate, and during prophase, chromosome condense and become shorter and thicker. Which component could be found in nucleotides of rRNA? Nucleotides in rRNA contain 2 different nitrogenous bases with a doubling structure, which is purine, adenine, and guanine, and 2 different purine bases. Number 2 is the adenine and guanine, and number 3, 3 different nitrogenous bases with a single ring structure, pyrimidine, cytosine, example cytosine, uracils, and thymine. So thymine is replaced by uracils in RNA. And there will be 3 different pyrimidine bases, which is cytosines, uracils, and thymine. So the correct answer will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 22, how many statements are true for semi-conservative aggregations of DNA in a prokaryotic cells? Let's evaluate the statement. The process takes place in the cytoplasm. This is true because DNA replication happened in the cytoplasm. An adenine nucleotide will line up against a uracils on the template strand. This is false because adenine pairs with thymine in DNA, not uracil. Number 3, each new DNA molecule will contain one strand from the parent molecule. This is also true because each new DNA molecule has one original strand and one new strand. And number 4, if the parent molecule contains 40% guanine nucleotide, and each new DNA molecule will contain 20% guanine nucleotide. This is false because if the parent DNA contains 40% guanine, the new DNA will also have 40% guanine. So the true statements is only 1 and 3. 2 only. 23. This is also a common question which is already exists in November 2023. So the sickle cell anemia is caused by a mutations in an allele of the gene that codes for the beta-globin polypeptide of hemoglobin. And the diagram shows the sequence of bases in the small sections of a coding strand of DNA for both the HBA normal and HBS sickle cells beta-globin allele. How will the mutations in the allele result in the productions of an altered versions of the beta-globin polypeptide? The answer will be, in the case of HBS allele, where the codon GAG is mutated to GTG, a tRNA molecule with the anticodon GUG would indeed form hydrogen bond with the altered codon on mRNA. And this tRNA molecule would carry the amino acid valine, which is specified by the codon GTG. Therefore, during translation, the tRNA with the anticodon GUG would correctly recognize and bind to the mutated mRNA codon, which allow for the incorporations of valine into the growing polypeptide chains. Number 24 question, this is also a common question which is already exists in October 2022. Number 1 is indicate folium, 2 is also folium, and 3 is also folium, and 4 is xylem. 25, which will correctly describe the adaptations of companion cells, folium sieve elements, and xylem vessels element for their roles. The answer will be C. 26. Irrigating crops plants with water containing low concentration of salt causes an increase in the concentration of salt in the soil. What explains why the increase in salt concentration will eventually kill the crop? The answer will be C. 27. The diagram shows the pathway of water across root cells to the xylem. Which cell is in the endodermis? The answer will be C. And which row show the course of mass flow in the folium in the directions of movement of folium set by mass flow? The answer will be hydrostatic pressure gradient, which is cause of mass flow in the folium, and source to sink is a direction of movement of folium set by mass flow. 29, which statement about oxygen combining with hemoglobin is correct? The answer will be the second oxygen molecule to combine makes it easier for the third to combine. 29 and 30, the diagram show the Bohr effects. What caused the shift from X to Y? The shift is caused by the increased concentration of carbon dioxide and low pH. Which plant diagram represents the tissue in a major being? The following layers from the utmost to the inmost, we have tunica externa, adventitia, the utmost layer which is composed mainly of connective tissue, which provides structural support and protections. And tunica is also contain nerves and smaller blood vessels that supply the veins wall. Tunica media is the middle layer made up of smooth muscle cells and elastic fiber, and is thinner in vein compared to arteries, and it is responsible for regulating the diameter of the vein through contractions and relaxations of the smooth muscles. And tunica intima is the innermost layer consisting of a single layer of endothelial cells lining the lumen, and which is supported by a thin layer of connective tissue. And its tunica intima provide a smooth surface to minimize resistance to the blood flow. And also it consists of valves which present in many veins, especially in the limbs, which prevent the backflow of blood and ensure it moves towards the heart. And these layers put together to support the functions of vein in returning the oxygenated blood to the heart. The most suitable answer will be D. And ventricular spectral defects, or VSD, is a heart defect that people can have from birth. People with VSD have a hole in a wall spectrum that separate the left and the right ventricles. And what would happen in a person with VSD? In a person with VSD, the following will happen. Blood will leak through the whole tissue from left to the right, not right to the left, and due to higher pressure in the left ventricles. And the volume of blood circulating through the lungs will be higher than in a person without VSD because the left to the right shunt increases pulmonary blood flow. And thirdly, less oxygen will be delivered to the body tissues, and if the heart and lung cannot compensate for the increased pulmonary blood flow and potential for congestive heart failure. So the correct answer will be 2 and 3. The diagram shows the pressure changes in some structures on the right side of the heart during the cardiac cycles. And the X is the line is represent pulmonary artery. The diagram shows a section through us types of epithelium, and where is this type of epithelium found in the respiratory system? Yes, in the trachea, in the bronchus, but not in all bronchioles. In chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, what is known as COPD, airflow through the airways is reduced, and which statement explains the reduced airflows? The correct will be 1, 3, and 1, 2, and 3. More mucus is secreted into the airways. This can clog the airways, making it harder for air to flow through. And airways and alveoli lose their elasticity. Loss of elasticity in the airways and alveoli make it difficult to expel air, leading to air trapping and reduced airflow. And many of the alveoli are destroyed. The destructions of alveoli reduces the surface area for gas exchange, with impact airflow. And statement 4, carbon monoxide bind irresistibly to hemoglobin does not directly reduce airflow through the airways. Instead, it affects the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. The answer will be 1, 2, and 3. Outbreak of cholera commonly occur in refugee camps that are set up after a major natural disaster such as earthquake. Which features of these control measures involve economic factors? There will be all. 37. Which use of antibody helps to reduce the spread of resistance in bacteria? The answer will be C. Regularly changing the type of antibiotic used to treat particular bacterial infections, and changing antibiotic regularly reduces the change of bacterial becoming resistance to any one antibiotic. And for the answer, using high concentrations of bacteria of the antibiotic to kill all the bacteria, this still lead to resistance if not all bacteria are killed. Giving routine preventative antibiotics to people who are having an operation is also can lead to overuse and resistance. And number 3, treating a low-level infections with antibiotic can lead to unnecessary use and resistance. 38. The graph shows the amount of antibody produced in response to an antigen. From the graph, which statement is correct? It is actually the graph represent Memory cells for this antigen are present in the body within 20 days. Which sequence summarize the hybridoma methods for the productions of monoclonal antibodies? This can be seen from the inject mammal with antigens and it becomes harvest lymphocytes from spleen and fuse with cancer cells, test for wanted antibody, and it become large scales of culture. So the most suitable answer will be D. And 14, the vaccination program for smallpox was a medical success story, which resulted in the World Health Organization finally declaring the world free from smallpox in 1980, which a statement correctly identifies the reasons for the success of the smallpox vaccination programs. Okay. This would be, the correct answer would be the virus was stable and not prone to mutations. That being said, that's all for today's presentation and hope to see you in the next sessions and wish you all the best in your studies and please subscribe to Jones Study Life YouTube channel. Thank you very much for your questions.